Hello, welcome back to LK Tuition. My name's Lucas and today we're going to be looking at converting fractions, decimals and percentages. Okay, so we've already looked at decimals and percentages going from one to the other, so now we're going to be looking at getting fractions involved into the mix. So let's firstly look at going from fractions into decimals and percentages. Well, to convert any fraction into a decimal, we did look at some common easy conversions that you can just remember, but to convert any fraction into a decimal, you can use the bus stop method to divide the numerator by the denominator. So let's just try that with a quick example. So we want to do 17 divided by 40. So I'm going to have 17 here, I'm going to put some decimals here, some zeros, and let's just divide it. So how many 40s go into 17? None. Put my decimal point there. How many 40s go into, so this would be 170. So I'll change my colour, 170. How many 40s go into that? Well, it would be 4, remainder 10. And then we want how many 40s go into 100? Well, 2 times 40 is 80, so that's 2, remainder, not giving myself much room here, 20, and then 40 goes into 200. 5 times. So 17 over 40 is 0.425. Okay, so, and then, oh yeah, let's do an example where some fractions may turn out to be a recurring decimal. So let's do 7 divided by 11. So same idea then, so we're dividing by 11. Let's give myself a bit more room. And we've got 7. Let's do that. Okay, so how many 11s go into 7? Well, it's 0. Remainder 7. How many 11s go into 70? Well, that's going to be 6. For 66, remainder 4. And then you're noticing we're getting a 40. How many 11s go into 40? Well, that is going to be 3, remainder 7. And now we're back to 70. So this is going to be 63, 63, 63. It's going to go on forever. And we can write that as 0.63 with recurring symbols on the 6 and the 3. So sometimes your fractions might be recurring, but you'll notice the pattern and then you can just write it as a recurring decimal. Okay, so that's how to turn them into decimals, and then like we did in a previous video, if you want it as a percentage, just turn your answer into a percentage by timesing it by 100. So for instance, this one, 0.425, that would be 42.5%, and this is 0.63 recurring, so that would be, well, it'd be 63.63 recurring, like that, percent. Okay, so you just times by 100 as usual. Okay, so let's just do a couple of examples. So the first one, we want to do 5 over 16 as a decimal. So again, we're just going to use our bus stop method. So we're dividing by 16, and we've got 5, putting some zeros, changing my colour. How many 16s go into 5? None. How many 16s go into 50? Well, that's 3, remainder 2. How many 16s go into 20? 1, remainder 4. How many 16s go into 40? Well, that is going to be 2, remainder 8. And how many 16s go into 80? It's 5. So as a decimal, it's 0.3125. Next question, we want to write 12 over 5 as a percentage. So again, we'll use our bus stop method. We've got 12. How many 5s go into 12? Well, it's 2, remainder 2. And how many 5s go into 20? Well, it's 4. So this is just 2.4. But we want this as a percentage. So times by 100 is going to be 240%. Okay, next question. We want 3 over 11 as a decimal. So again, so this is just the same stuff. We're doing 3 divided by 11. How many 11s go into 3? 0. How many 11s go into 30? Well, that is going to be 2. Remainder 8. How many 11s go into 80? Well, that's 77. So that's 7, remainder 3. And then we're back to 30 again. So this is going to be another recurring decimal. So this is going to be 0.27 with occurring decimals like that. And then finally, we want 3 7/10 as a percentage. Okay, well, let's leave the 3 because that's just going to be our integer bit. Let's look at 7/10. Well, actually, from previous videos, we know that 1/10 is 10%. So 7, oops, sorry, I've written the answer before I wrote the question. Oops. So 7/10 would be 7 times 10, which is 70%. And we've already got 3, which is 300%. So altogether, it's going to be 370% like that. Okay. So hopefully that's okay with going from fractions into decimals and percentages. Now let's go the other way. So let's start with percentages into fractions. Now the great thing about percentage is it's out of 100. So these can easily be turned into fractions. So 17% is 17 out of 100. If your percentage has 1 digit after the decimal point, you'll want to add a 0 to the 100 to make it out of 1,000. If it was 2 after the decimal point, you'd add 2 zeros after the 100 to make it 10,000. So for example, here we've got 54.78%. So ignore the decimal, so write 5478. Now normally it's out of 100, but because we've got 2 after the decimal, we stick another 2 zeros in. Okay, and then once you've done that, you want to then make sure it ends up in simplest form. So this, I could definitely divide it by 2. Let's quickly do that, see if we end up with something nice. We probably won't. Divide that by 2, we're going to get 2,739 over 5,000. Maybe that could be simplified again. I don't know, but yeah, that's a bit of a big one to do. All right, but hopefully it makes sense. And then decimals, to convert a decimal into a fraction, you place its decimal number over its place value. So here we've got 0.345. Well, this last one is in thousandths, isn't it? So we do 345 out of 1,000. Any number before the decimal point is a whole number and can be written as part of a mixed number. So for instance, 4.29 can be written as 4 and 29 over 100. And again, you want to make sure your fraction ends up in its simplest form. So let's just do a few examples then. So the first one is 56%. Well, that is 56 out of 100. I can simplify that, divide top and bottom by 2. That is 28 over 50. I can divide by 2 again. That is 14 over 25. And that's in simplest form. Okay, next one, we've got 105, so 0.105, and that's 105 over 1,000. I can definitely divide top and bottom by 5, so that's going to be 21 over 200, and I don't think I can simplify that, so that is the answer. Okay, next one is 23.1%. So a percent is out of 100, so ignore the decimal point. We do it out of 100, but because we've got 1 after the decimal in our question, we want another 0 there. So that's going to be 231 out of 1,000, and I don't think that can be simplified. Okay, and then finally, we've got 7.42. Well, that's going to be 7 and 42 out of 100, which we can simplify to 7 and 21 out of 50. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense. So finally then, just a couple of worded examples. So number 1, a gym has 3 types of membership. So 60% of members have a regular membership, 27% have a student membership, and the rest, have a senior membership. What fraction of members have a senior membership? Well, we need to figure out what percentage is left over first. So we've got 60% plus 27% already, and that is 87%. And to find out what's left, we just take it away from 100. So 100 minus 87 is 13%. So that's the percentage of members that have a senior membership, but we want that as a fraction. So that's going to be 13 out of 100 have a senior membership, and that can't be simplified, mainly because 13 is prime. Okay, so let's just do one more. So number 2, James sat end of term tests for all his A-level subjects. Which subjects had his 2 best scores and what are they as percentages? Okay, so let's see if we can turn them all into percentages and then they will be easier to look at. So the first one is 8 out of 20. Now I'm noticing that 1 out of 20 is a fifth. So I want to times by 5 to get the percentage here. So 8 times 5 is 40. So this is equal to 40%. Okay, let me just double check that. So it's the same as, yeah, 40%, lovely. Okay, music is 9 out of 13. Now this isn't one of these common ones that we already know, so let's just do the division. So we want to do 13 into 9. Let's stick in some zeros. 13 doesn't go into 9. How many times does 13 go into 90? Well, it goes in, so 6 times, I believe. Remainder 12. How many times does 13 go into 120? That is going to be 9. Remainder 3. How many times does 13 go into 30? Well, that is 2. Remainder 4. And we could keep going, but I feel like this is good enough. So we can write this as 69% to the nearest percent. So we'll keep that in mind. Next one, we've got health and social care. This is out of 50. Well, if we want it as a percentage, that's out of 100. So we can just double this to get it out of 100. So that is 70%. And finally, politics is 9 out of 15. Now, there's a few ways of doing this. The first thing I'm thinking is I can simplify this fraction. So dividing by 3, this is 3 out of 5. Now 1 out of 5 is 20. So 3 out of 5 would be 3 times 20, which is 60%. So now we've got them all in percentages, we want to actually answer the question. So it says, which subjects had his 2 best scores and what are they as percentages? So it looks like these 2 are the 2 best. So his best score was health and social care, and that was 70%. And his second best one was music, which was 69%. Okay, and that is our answer. Okay, so hopefully you found that useful. So it was using division to go from a fraction to a decimal, and then you can just times by 100 to get a percentage. Or remember that a percentage is out of 100 to go from a percentage to a fraction. Or if you're going from, what was the other one? A decimal to a fraction, you look at the place value. So what's the kind of smallest place value? If it's 1,000th, then it's out of 1,000 and so on. So I hope that's been okay. This has been LK Tuition. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall see you soon for some more maths videos.